continued attacks on our troops and facilities in Iraq and Syria, and in particular, the attack that killed 3 of our soldiers in Jordan, wounding dozens of others. U.S. military forces struck more than 85 targets at 7 facilities utilized by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the militant groups that they sponsor. 3 of the facilities are in Iraq, 4 of them are in Syria. Numerous aircraft, including B-1 bombers dispatched from the United States, were involved in this operation, firing more than 125 precision-guided munitions over the course of about 30 minutes. Target facilities included command and control centers, as well as headquarters buildings and intelligence centers, rocket, missile, and drone storage facilities, and logistics and munition supply chain facilities. These targets were carefully selected to avoid civilian casualties and based on a clear, irrefutable evidence that they were connected to attacks on U.S. personnel in the region. The Department of Defense is in the early stages of battle damage assessment, but we believe that the strikes were successful. We do not know at this time if or how many militants may have been killed or wounded. All U.S. aircraft are now out of harm's way. The president has been kept informed throughout the afternoon. The United States does not seek conflict with Iran or in the broader Middle East, but as President Biden has made clear, we will not hesitate to defend our people and hold responsible all those who harm Americans at a time, a place of our choosing. That began tonight, but it will not end tonight. We do not seek a conflict with Iran. These targets were chosen, as we said, to degrade and to disrupt the capabilities of the IRGC and the groups that they sponsor and support. As the general said, we believe that these targets fell into exactly that criteria. And the goal here is to get these attacks to stop. We are not looking for a war with Iran. So the signal is to the IRGC and to these groups, the attacks have got to stop. And they're also not just this wasn't just a message sending routine tonight. This was about degrading capability, taking away in a more robust way than we have in the past, taking away capabilities by the IRGC and the militant groups. And I want to repeat again what I said in my opening comments. These responses began tonight. They're not going to end tonight. So there will be additional responses. There will be additional action that we will take, all designed to put an end to these attacks and to take away capability by the IRGC. And when you ask, well, why is it, how does this comport with not wanting a broader conflict? Because if you're taking away capability of an adversary who's trying to kill your troops and act against your interest in the region, if you're trying to take away their capability, then you are by default working to de-escalate the tensions.
We have, right now, all of our aircraft are out of harm's way. I'm not going to provide any particulars as it relates to timing on future strikes. Our munitions are very precise and don't take a lack of cloud cover. We can issue those or conduct those with good cloud cover. In an interest of ensuring that we're hitting all the right targets and that we're avoiding unnecessary casualties, it's good for us to have clear weather to allow us to see those targets as we develop them. That all came together for us as we were planning this. The weather did turn today to allow us to conduct these strikes. And as a result, we're very confident in the targets that we struck today. I would say, and it's hard, I'm not going to speak for the Iraqi or the Iranian line militia groups here, but my guess is, based on the fact that they took the shot at us and have taken multiple shots at us now, that they were anticipating a response. And their defenses were likely to move people around. We're pretty confident that the locations we got, as Mr. Kirby mentioned, were pretty significant in degrading capability, and we will know better in terms of what that BDA looks like tomorrow. I would tell you that we know that there are militants that use these locations, IRGC as well as Iranian aligned militia group personnel who use these locations. We made these strikes tonight with an idea that there would likely be casualties associated with people inside those facilities.
So in that sense, it does represent a type of escalation, but I do think it's a rather measured escalation. Again, I would caveat that we have not yet seen the totality of the strikes that are potentially going to be taken, but thus far, these are targets similar to ones that the U.S. has targeted in the past after U.S. service members have been wounded or killed. The difference is, of course, is that we're just seeing more strikes and more targets. It's really, in some respect, been a long observed practice that the U.S. has conducted these self-defense strikes when U.S. service members are wounded, but especially when they're killed. But never really is it articulated out loud that that is the practice. So it is interesting that in his statement, President Biden did say that if you harm Americans, we're going to come after you. That seemingly is a public red line. Again, it really was policy, but now it's out there. Iran and its proxies have sought to raise the temperature without actually putting the US or Israel into a corner or a significant decision point where we or they would have to escalate into war. In some respects, Kataib Hezbollah was the dog that caught the car in that they had been attacking US forces over 100 times, but were tragically successful with Tower 22, which in fact did put the U.S. to a choice to escalate, which is something that Iran has seemingly sought to avoid these last few months. I think from the U.S. government perspective, every day where the region isn't in total war is a good day. So it's very much a day-to-day type of operation to limit hostilities, to push back adversaries, to address threats as they fly. But what remains to be seen is a coherent or comprehensive strategy that, in fact, seeks to arrest Iran's continued support to these proxies, that continues to enable their capabilities, all of the lethal intelligence, all of the arms transfers. So far, there really hasn't been anything to confront or address or seek to deter Iran's role in pumping the bellows of this fire. So we'll have to see if and how U.S. policy adapts to incorporate Iran's role.